Chairman, sir, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak on the bill to amend the Weapons of Mass Destruction and their Delivery Systems Prohibition of Unlawful Activities Act 2005. As the Minister just stated, the new legislation prohibits the financing of weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems. Sir, we cannot disagree with the Minister on the bill, but however, I want to make a few observations and suggestions. See, the entire bill speaks about a person, that an individual who is an individual who finances weapons of mass destruction. Probably you have only amended the original act and not had a look at that. But I would like to suggest to you that more than individuals who finance weapons of mass destruction and delivery systems, it is organizations, it is countries. Also, the original act envisaged largely for Indian citizens and had extraterritorial applications. But you should now consider that this act applies to foreigners, foreign citizens, where we have extradition agreements with. And as far as countries, we all know who is financing the terror operations against India. And there is specific information about them financing weapons of mass destruction. I think FATF has also put Pakistan on the grey list. The government of India needs to do more about countries financing weapons of mass destruction against India. Sir, I'd like to bring to the notice of the Minister through you that as far as weapons of mass destruction concerned, I have a personal knowledge. I've served in the Armed Forces of India. I've served at both China and Pakistan borders as a fighter pilot. And it should be alarming that all of Pakistani aircraft now and the modern Chinese aircraft are delivery systems for any of the weapons of mass destruction. They can deliver tactical nuclear weapons. They can deliver chemical weapons. So on the one hand, you have the Pakistan and Chinese modern acquisitions and present fighter aircraft being able to deliver weapons of mass destruction. On the other hand, the Indian Air Force, with a sanctioned strength of 42 fighter squadrons, has now come down to 28. I think the government should take a very, very serious note of this. So I'd like to also bring to the notice of the government through you, weapons of mass destruction were seriously used last in World War II, when the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were totally destroyed by atomic bomb. After that, for many decades, countries were afraid to use weapons of mass destruction. But, sir, I'd like to bring to the notice of the Minister that of late, countries are becoming more brazen in using these weapons, whether it is Syria or in the present Russia-Ukraine conflict, where the Russian president himself gives a statement asking his nuclear forces to be alert. I think that this disturbing trend, the government of India must take note, and also the fact that weapons of mass destructions are now becoming more potent and more powerful. Whether it is nuclear, whether it is chemical or biological weapons of mass destruction, they are becoming far more potent and powerful now. So I'd like to also caution the government of India that drones are now being manufactured to carry weapons of mass destruction. This is an alarming situation, and we also have a situation now where we have instability in our neighboring country and anything is possible. So I'd like to mention a few points about proliferation financing, which your bill is about. Most countries use existing mechanisms against terrorism or money laundering to achieve non-proliferation financing. The FATF report on proliferation financing suggests countries must also raise awareness and help clarify the obligations on individuals, firms, and financial institutions to be vigilant to proliferation and proliferation financing, as well as well as provide a basis within the country's legal framework to report suspicious financial activity. So the bill you introduced does not mention either. In order to fully achieve deterrence against proliferation financing, a level of international cooperation is required with respect to extradition. This is to avoid creating safe havens for violators of the law and to ensure mutual legal assistance for investigation and prosecution against proliferation financing, against those who are financing weapons of mass destruction. However, at the present, India is only around 60 extradition treaties or agreements with other nations. Sir, I would like to once again mention to you that delivery systems, please don't go by an earlier definition of delivery systems. All fighter aircraft in Pakistan and China are today capable to deliver weapons of mass destruction. The government of India must take appropriate measures on that. Sir, before I conclude, since we are speaking about I cannot say that, sir. Sir, I would also, before I conclude, sir, present India's nuclear policy doesn't permit tactical nuclear weapons. Sir, I'd like to conclude. The national security, we are talking of weapons of mass destruction. We are talking of financing of weapons of mass destruction. So from its inception, the institution of the National Security Advisor and the Deputy National Security Advisor is being somehow restricted to foreign service and police officers. Would be very, very appropriate that a military expert should also be an NSA of this country or at least a deputy NSA. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sri Rajyavardhan Rathod ji.